Hello to the chicos and the chicas. Welcome back to recap time. World Cup Baku 2023. Lots of fun chess. Let's see what's going on. Well, ladies and gents, what's going on is that it looks like India is claiming yet again the #1 country in the chess realm. At least this is definitely the case with the open section of the World Cup, where Gukesh and Erigaisi are already through, as is Praggnanandhaa. More on that, gentlemen, just in a little bit. And Vidit also may make it through to the quarterfinals, which would result in a very unique situation where 8 players would be present, out of which 4 would be from one country, and that one country is India. This is absolutely incredible how these young grandmasters are just claiming more and more territory. Gukesh is now number 7 in the world ranking, and the other two, Praggnanandhaa and Erigaisi Arjun, also are coming up. So, oh boy, this is a very exciting time to observe chess, the world of chess, and how, as Magnus Carlsen seemingly is less and less interested in classical chess, the new generation seems to claim more and more territory. Now, I'm going to show you today the game between Praggnanandhaa and my countryman, Ferenc Berkes, who is also a good friend of mine, by the way. We grew up together in the same chess club in Hungary. We shared coaches. We spent a lot of time together, so I know him really well. And I was cheering for him throughout the tournament, and indeed he did cause a fair few upsets. He actually almost became a victim of an upset. I can't remember who he played in the first round, but it was against a lower rated player and he nearly got eliminated. Then he defeated Gelfand and Vichugov in order to get a match against Praggnanandhaa, and unfortunately the Indian youngster got the better of him. Berkesh relied exclusively with the black pieces on the French defense, which is actually an opening that he has been playing ever since I have known him, which is about age 9. So he's definitely a bit of an expert. However, having read his write-up on Facebook, he sort of sent a message out and thanked, excuse my phone, his Hungarian supporters. And in that short recount, he mentioned the fact that the French served him really well throughout the tournament until he came across Praggnanandhaa's novelty, which hit him like a truck. So let's see what we're talking about here. This is exactly the variation that Berkesh had against Vichugov as well, who, by the way, ironically, he himself is a French player and wrote a book on the French. But this time he tried winning with the white against Berkesh to no avail. And so now this is the repeat of the Vichugov-Berkesh game, but Praggnanandhaa in this position, instead of the theoretical knight a4, came up with the novelty bishop d3. This has never been played on top level chess, and it's a remarkable idea. What I really like about it is the fact that the very logical knight c4 would be met by bishop c1 when knight takes e5 wins a pawn for black, but this structure is going to be, I wouldn't even want to say reminiscent. It's identical to the Milner-Barry Gambit, which is my recommendation in my beginner's E4 course. And I have got a fair few interesting ideas in there that are not very well known to opening theory. And having looked at this, at first I thought that this was a very good version of the Milner-Barry. Upon second reflection, I think it's an interesting version of the Milner-Barry. White definitely does have ample compensation for the pawn. The rook on c3 is probably more likely to be misplaced than actively placed. Bishop d4, rook c6 is a testament to that. But nonetheless, there is no clear win, there is no forced win. It is still a game of chess, but obviously entering this with 0 prep is like trying to walk across a minefield, and Berkesh was not interested in this, and so he instead went with a5, which was the positional approach here, trying to challenge the pawn formation on a3, b4, and trying to secure the knight on c4, which is exactly what he proceeded to do with b5. Now, at this stage, the game really got super exciting and super spicy very, very quickly. Pragg played h4, a really, really handy move to play. This is not, I wouldn't even say that this is the new trend of when one don't know what to do, shove the h-pawn up. This has been known in the French for many, 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 many decades, right? So the idea being that if the knight goes to g6, we can always kick it with h5, and that's super annoying. And very often white even attempts to go all the way to force g6, which would then in turn weaken the dark squares quite drastically. So yeah, h4 is stock standard here. Queen b6, rook e1, logical developing moves, h6. This is to deny knight g5, queen h5 ideas. Rook e2. Now this was the first move of a remarkably clever maneuver. The idea being to swing across the rook onto the a file and penetrate on the a file. Very dangerous story there. Bishop c6 was played. This was a mistake by Berkesh, which is very easy to understand why it was played. The concept here is that surprisingly in quite a number of variations, white is going to take on c4 when neither retake is too good for black, because if we take with the d, then d5 break is super annoying. That's exactly what bishop c6 is intended to do. And likewise, if we take with the b pawn, then pawn b5 becomes very, very messy with subsequent knight a4, knight c5, excuse me. The bishop is good to come in. So as soon as the rook is forced to go from c8, this capture becomes very annoying. And bishop c6 was trying to fix that. Good luck finding the best engine move here, which is queen d8. I'm not even going to attempt figuring out what the heck is going on there. Some rook a8 idea, but yeah, let's just not go there. Bishop c6 was very humane. I totally can get behind this idea for black. Rook a2 was played and bishop b7 was played. So these two moves were heavily criticized by the engine. And now the engine claims that after h5, black is in some kind of a trouble because the knight has nowhere to go. But actually, this evaluation is a little bit sloppy. I think that there is still quite a bit of play in that position, and it's unclear how white has a decisive edge. Rook a5 was played in the game, and I absolutely love this. Again, that's the human move. A beautiful exchange sack that cannot be accepted because take, let's say queen takes a5, and after, let's go with knight b5. Black is gonna be in all kinds of hurt here. The check is coming, the bishop is loose. This is looking very, very tempting. Even after knight c6, if we just go bishop f4, completing development and floating the check, this looks really, really dicey. And I'm not sure if I missed anything here. No, I didn't. So knight b5 was best. But Berkesh decided not to take the bait and instead played bishop c6, once again choosing safety and security over tactical mayhem, which by the way he also reflected on in his recount. He said that when he knew that Praggnanandhaa was his opponent, he knew that he needed to stay away from tactical skirmishes and wild positions because the Indian can't possibly be outcalculated. Interesting tidbits there from a very experienced grandmaster. Queen e2 was played, double question mark, harsh match. I mean, hello. Okay, I get rook a1. And this is a beautiful move. I want to show you a line here because the engine loves this and I love it even more. The concept is that now after take, queen a6, we don't even get the b5 pawn. And I thought, okay, I will test the waters here. I will hold the engine. Pfft, hello. That was my idea. Engine said rook b1. I went like, oh, buddy, I have your numbers here. Rook b8 and you're not breaking through. And engine went like, try again, buddy. Knight b5. And I went like, okay, I need to be smarter about when and where I'm picking my fights. Stockfish is not one. And now after bishop b5, rook b5, queen a4, everything just drops. And perhaps even prettier is rook b5, when we casually slide the queen to f1, not to e2, f1, so that after rook b1, bishop a6, c1 doesn't hang with a check. And white is completely winning again. Nonetheless, I do think that queen e2, calling this a blunder, is very harsh, especially given that white retains substantial advantage even after this. I'm genuinely confused about the .com evaluation here, because I look at the engine, it says +1. And rook AA1 is plus rook B. Yeah, something is, yeah. I have noticed that in this World Cup layout, sometimes the engines are funky. Anyway, G6 was played. This looks a little bit gutless, but after all, that king side needs to be developed. It needs to be developed one way or another. Rook A1 was played now. Double exclam. Okay. Knight F5. Rook A6. Now, this was another really, really cool... Wait a tick. Where was that line where black had knight H4? Was it here? There was a line with knight takes H4 double exclam, with the idea that if knight takes, then queen takes D4 hits both of the knights. Maybe it comes later. Let's have a look. Bishop C6, Queen E2, G6, meh. Rook A1, Knight F5, Rook A6, and the Queen went back. It's definitely not here, because the Queen is hanging. By the way, Knight takes D4 was an interesting move here, where again White needs to sacrifice a pawn, because obviously Rook B6, Knight E2 followed by Knight B6 is no bueno. So Queen E2, Knight F3, Queen F3 is the way to go. And here too, we are relying on a Milner-Barry-like initiative. For example, Queen D8, Bishop takes C4. This capture, man, this pops up so much in this game. The most counterintuitive trade, because it's a beautiful bishop for that knight on C4. But again, there's no good retake, because that hangs the bishop. And if we take this way, the B pawn is going to be relevant. But also Rook A7 and the 7th rank slicing and dicing is just extremely annoying and difficult to handle. So yeah, this is looking very, very promising for White. And again, the power of the B pawn is quite noticeable. Anyway, Queen D8 was played. So it had to be earlier on. Oh, maybe it was here instead of G6. Maybe here, Knight F5. Yeah. And I think this is what I looked at, that if Rook A1, then... Oh, but now D4 hangs right away, so it couldn't have been that. Now, unfortunately, I lost that line, guys. I'm sorry, but there was an idea where White had... Black had Knight takes H4, Knight H4, Queen D4. A quite insane double attack that would have kept Black in the game. Maybe here. I keep on trying everything now just to make a point. Yes, I think it was here. So let's say for argument's sake that I play a pass. I can't exactly do that because this hangs though. It's almost impossible for me to play a move here that doesn't address this Knight H4, Queen D4 problem. Like Rook B3 defends the Knight, Queen C2 defends the Knight. Okay, I'll give up. Anyway, let's move on with the game, because boy was it a treat fest. So Rook A1, Knight F5, Rook A6, Queen D8. And this is where Praggnanandhaa just turned it up a notch and went G4, sensing beautifully well that his pieces are very well organized and they are ready to strike. And strike they do, my friends. Takes, takes, takes. Bishop takes C4 again. Capturing on C4 is the key. And after BC, Praggnanandhaa spotted an absolutely sensational mop-up. Rook takes C6, beautiful chess. Rook takes check, King D7, and the key move, Queen F3, the only winning move in the position, introducing a whole host of tactical ideas. The main one, well, apart from Queen F7, of course, is Knight takes D5. So, for example, if we go Queen E7 here, then the absolutely marvelous Knight takes D5, excuse me, E5, Queen D5 just mops up. White has an irresistible attack. In fact, the engine already informs me it's mate in 7. My favorite mate, by the way, was this one. That is definitely one that takes the cake. Beautiful stuff. Berkesh tried to resist the irresistible, by the way, against King E7, whilst we do have Queen F3. B5, Bishop A3 also wins, so it is already Carnage City. King D7, Queen F3, F5 was played. A very clever counter stroke, really, because now knight d5 is not going to cut it due to queen g4. And en passant seems to block off the f file when black still is in the game with h5. Once again, annoying white with this pesky queen trade. Yeah, but Praggnanandhaa was having none of this. He found b5, a beautiful resource, after which the black rook has nowhere good to go. The idea being that rook b6 walks into the checking range of the knight. And so now knight takes d5, queen g4 is no longer a problem. The engine wants me to take this first and only then take on d5. And I would love to say that I understand the reasons, but I don't. So let me just check what's wrong with this. Ooh, bishop d6. Remember, your opponent is also entitled to tactics. Actually, now the engine finally confirms that queen f7 does win here. So the idea, I guess, would have been that, let's say if I take this, then queen g4, and then there is perpetual check wherever I go. But what is the difference if I insert gf? I did not look at this before I started recording this video, so now I'm going to figure it with you guys. Well, even here, queen f7. So hang on, if I take this, oh, now I can block back. Okay, I don't quite see that this is necessary. I think we can just take d5 and win anyway. But Berkesh went back to c8, which was the more logical move and the more resilient one. But knight takes d5 came anyway, and once again the knight is exploiting the awkward placement of king rook, and now knight takes b6 is going to win. Of course, the capture on d5 again leads to immediate checkmates, mate in 5 now, so that was out of the question. The following line was forcing, and actually it allowed Berkesh to even regain the piece. Check this out. King c7, knight c8, and king b7. The tragedy, however, is that whilst black is busy recuperating the piece, white is going to pick up 700 pawns, and that was just, yeah, too much for the Hungarian. And yes, after a couple of tactical tricks being dodged, now white is easily winning the exchange up endgame, and Berkesh capitulated, resigned in a couple of moves, and unfortunately that was the end of the Hungarians' amazing run in Baku. And now we are looking to see today's, obviously, the tie breaks, where Vidit, among others, may make it to the quarterfinals. Magnus Carlsen is in the quarterfinals after a very convincing victory again over Vasil Ivanchuk. And I want to close this video, to finish this video, with a bold prediction. There is a person in this tournament that I feel that person does not get the credit he deserves for his really convincing play, and that is none other than Fabiano Caruana. I do think that Fabi is one of the secret or not so secret favorites to win this tournament, and actually I'm going to now place a bet with myself that it's gonna be Fabi who takes the tournament out. It is a very bold prediction, but hey, let's make it fun. I would love to hear your thoughts about who the winner will be eventually. I feel like Magnus's form is too shaky for the time being. He may get better at it at the tail end of the tournament, but I don't know, man. We'll see. Tell me what you think. Please comment down below. Tell me who you reckon will be the eventual winner. And yeah, don't forget to comment and like and sub anyway, because that's how we make this algorithm like us. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching. I will be back with soon. Cheerio.